And we're going to now look at how can we market to our existing customers that we've worked so hard to get, and how can we use the tools that are in the Zoho One platform to do that. This is the kind of little flow that we're going to be looking at, moving from leads to customers. That's what we looked at in the previous session, customers to repeat customers. We want the customers that we have to buy more things from us. And then after they're buying more things from us and they seem to really be enjoying what we're selling, we want them to become, customer evangelists in their own right. We want them telling their friends about how much they love our products or services. We want them writing reviews for us. We want them doing case studies for us, and we want to record them in their natural environment and put that on our website as well. We want to basically maximize all of the goodwill that we're able to get from the people who really, really, really like us. And there's a few reasons why we want to do all of this stuff. First thing, repeat customers on average are spending 67% more than customers who are coming for the first time. They have a lot more confidence in the business. We probably know that retaining customers is 6 to 7 times less costly than acquiring new ones. This is particularly true, for Zoho. The cloud software market is a very big, noisy, expensive market to be in. So it's very important to us that we're able to, make our customers aware of all of the different things that we do. Because without being able to do that effectively, it's going to be really, really hard to compete with companies that have just limitless amounts of cash to throw at everyone. And really important as well when it comes to the content side, the kind of end goal of really developing good marketing programs is basically having the customer testimonial, because that is going to be one of the biggest drivers of purchases for other people, right? At this point, when you think of like Yelp on our phone or Apple Maps or Google Reviews, all of these different things, it's very rare anymore that you ever kind of just wander into a restaurant without first looking at its reviews, right? It's very rare that you go on and you make any kind of significant purchase without first seeing what everyone is saying about it already. We don't even go to movies anymore without checking out Rotten Tomatoes or something like that. So reviews and the kind of social proof that you're able to create thanks to the customers who are really stoked on you, that's the stuff that's really, really important. This is what we're going to be looking at, right? So we've already seen the kind of social campaign that we can use to generate a customer, but now we're going to look at that cross-sell, and for us it's going to be a subscription service that we're cross-selling to our customers, and then we're going to move into, doing the surveys that allow us to figure out who really likes us. So Karen Crow, this is the business that we've been looking at, is offering a new product. So Karen Crow is offering this subscription service. And so Karen Crow is typically selling plants, bouquets, all sorts of different things to individual buyers. But now they're thinking, because they're based here in Austin, that they want to try a subscription service where they'll bring plants into the office and they'll manage and upkeep those plants for you and change them out as the seasons come. And there's going to just be a flat fee depending on the amount of plants you want. And you're just going to subscribe to that service and, you'll just be charged regularly for it, right? Sounds like a good service. Sounds like a service that'd be worth having. You can see their whole little page about all of this. Meet your new coworkers. Very clever marketing for this company that does not actually exist. We put a lot of time into these demo accounts. And we have this subscription option. So when we look at something like the 30 plants, we can hit subscribe, and it opens up a little window where we can add our billing information and pay by credit card and do that subscription. So what's happening here, the way that Karen Crow is offering this service is actually powered by one of the Zoho tools, which is called Zoho Subscriptions. And Zoho Subscriptions allows you to offer a subscription model service to your customers, where you create the different pricing plans that you'd want. You tell in the pricing plan what features are going to come with that. And then all of that recurring subscription-based billing is just handled for you automatically. And when you think about it, Zoho is a cloud company. We're called a SaaS provider, software as a service. We ourselves are a subscription business, so we've had a lot of expertise in this. And we took that and used it to create Zoho Subscriptions. The things that's really important are the kinds of reporting you get, such as customer lifetime value, which is really important to a subscription business. There's a number of other metrics that are also really important that we build into these reports and give to you through Zoho subscriptions. And so what we have here is not only the ability to have that e-commerce store, but the ability also to offer a subscription model itself. So a customer would come on here, and the customer we've been talking about today is Alicia Richards. So we're going to pick up with that same fake customer and keep going through this example. And Alicia Richards comes onto this page and she says, "This looks really cool." She puts in her information, fills out the credit card, hits subscribe, and she's done. So what does that look like now on the back end? If I'm Karen Crow and I go into my CRM and I go to Alicia Richards, which is right here up at top, thankfully, I can see her customer profile, right, her contact record. And you see there's this field right here called subscriptions, and it says that there's 30 plants, right? So what we've done here is after subscription has been filled out on the website, that record has been stored on the finance side, and it's updated the CRM customer record with the subscription plan that this customer now has. So we're tracking not only all of the different purchases that are being made through the e-commerce store, but now we're actually tracking also that she's a subscription customer itself, right? So now the question, of course, is how do you make that happen? Right? That would be the question. We've completed the cross-sell here, but how do we actually enable, how do we drive people to do that? If we're offering this new subscription service, how do we, push that to our customers and track all of the relevant information along the way? So that's what we're going to be getting into with this demo. So we have the subscription. So how are we doing that? So the way we're doing it to start with is we're thinking about what is the right set of customers that we need to target for our subscription-based promotion that we're offering, that we're trying to push to them. This service is only going to be relevant to people that are customers that live in and around Austin, right? Because as it being a new service for this business, and also the fact that there's certain geographical limitations to going into people's offices and putting in plants and making sure that they're well maintained, this is a service they're only going to want to offer to their Austin customers, right? And with personalization stuff that we saw in the previous session, there's no reason that any other customers in any other region would even ever know about this thing even existing. So they can make it very, very tailored to promoting this service on their website. But now we need to know, how do we drive customers to that website? So the first thing we want to do is we can come into our contacts record and actually just filter people, because we want to actually see all of the different customers that we have here. And we can do that by using this little filter. Mailing city is Austin. And maybe, they wouldn't want to do it just by mailing city. They might want to use zip codes because they know there's a certain area that they could do. We could do it that way if we wanted, but just for the sake of simplicity, we'll do it, by city. So we have all of these different customers here. And the customer that I just want to keep pointing out is Alicia Richards, because we're going to watch this customer move through this pipeline, essentially, as we keep moving through the marketing program that we're setting up. So we have Alicia Richards, and that's well and good, because we're using a little filter. But another thing we can also do, taking advantage of the CRM, is create a view for our Austin customers, because this is something that we're going to be coming back to again and again. And so what we can do is just go ahead and create a view in here. And again, it's as simple as really just filtering down and saying mailing city is Austin. We can choose which columns we want to display in the view. And we can also allow it to be shared with whoever in the organization or only you or whoever. And I hit save. So now we have this view in CRM just of our Austin customers, which is going to be really helpful as this keeps growing and as we need to keep paying attention to these different people, right? So that's the first thing we can do. By just looking into our CRM with the big set of customer records we have, we can filter them down, we can create different views, so we actually are really paying attention to the people that we need to be paying attention to as we're developing this whole marketing program. So now we have that. we're going to want to go to Marketing Hub, which is our brand new marketing automation product. So what we have here in Marketing Hub, I think the most important and the coolest thing in here are the journeys. The journeys are going to be a way that we are able to visualize large-scale kind of marketing processes that we're putting people through, okay? So we're going to get to that in just a second, because what do we need to have first in this system before we can run a journey? Leads, we need people to actually put through the journey, right? And currently, all of those people are sitting over in CRM. So the first thing we're going to want to do is bring those people across. And in general, right now, Marketing Hub is using a list-based concept. So we have all our leads, we have our contacts, and the contacts are important for us because the only time we have a contact in CRM for this business, as an e-commerce business, is because they're a customer of us. So for us, in the e-commerce context, for this account, we know that a customer is a contact. So we have all of these contacts that we've brought over, and the way that we've done that is by creating a sync. And we can sync Marketing Hub with a whole bunch of different systems, including e-commerce, the commerce platform, and that sync will keep getting better and better and better, where we're able to pull over more and more and more data. But to create that CRM sync, we'll hit New Sync. We can choose for that to be immediate. We choose the module in CRM, including custom modules we want to bring across. We name it, and then on the next page, we're going to basically just map some fields, so that way the system knows that information that's living in CRM under one field needs to be put in Marketing Hub under this field. It's just a very simple map that we have to create. And when you do that, I really recommend bringing over as much information as you can from CRM. Don't just be lazy and map a few fields. Do some of the work to actually really bring over a substantial amount of information, so that way you have it all there and you can use all of that data, all those different types of fields, as new ways to segment your customers and target different messages. So let's go ahead and look at the journeys, the very cool and wonderful journeys. And there's a couple here that we have going, and so we have one that we've already created that we're going to use just to show you, called the Promote Subscription Service Journey. And what we're looking at here is a whole little flow that's been, visually laid out, that's creating this journey and allowing us to bring the relevant contacts through this system of messages, targeting them with the right message and trying to get them to basically go and visit our website, subscribe to our subscription service, because as I showed you already, once they subscribe to the subscription service, we can capture that in a CRM field, and we know for sure that they've actually bought, so we can keep the whole loop there. So the way that this works is that a journey has a trigger, and then it has different actions, so process-based actions. And this trigger right here is the one that is setting everything off, which is when a contact enters a list. Okay? That's basically all it means, is that when someone enters that list of contacts, we're putting them through this journey. But as I've already said, we're only doing this with Austin customers. We don't want to do this with everybody because we can't serve all of them. So that's why we have this if-else condition. And this if-else condition is separating everyone out by the mailing city. Now, this is a demo account, so it's also separating everyone out that is not Alicia Richards, just so we could do this very quickly and easily. But this is what's happening here. So the question is, at this part in the journey, are you from Austin? Is your mailing address Austin? If not, then we're going to remove you from the journey. And if so, we're going to send you an email. And this email is going to get sent, and it's going to look like this. So we see a preview of the content that we've already created. Obviously, when you go in here and create journeys for the first time, you're going to have to, you'll create the trigger, you'll put the thing on, the action that you want to do, you create the content, and you can see right here, what is this going to look like on a mobile device? Looks nice, might be a little long, but pretty good. And we can also see what is the subject line of this email. Make your office look beautiful, sender name, Karen Crow. We can view additional reports on how that content is performing. So that is our subscription email that we're sending. This is the email that we're sending because we want them to click the link and go sign up for the subscription. But what happens if people don't open the email, right? What happens if people do open the email but don't click anything? And what happens if people click the link that we've provided? We're going to want to now readjust what we're doing and provide additional responses that are tailored to that situation. So let's look at this next set of things here. We have a response that's set up based on the action taken in this first message. So if the email was unopened, we're going to send them this email 4 days later. And the email we're going to send, when you see the content here, is the same content that we sent the first time. What's different is we're changing the subject line. Why? Because whatever the subject line wasn't appealing to them the first time. We don't know what they think about the content because they didn't see it. So we'll have to keep going with what we think is tried and true for the most part, change up the subject line, see if we can get them to click the email and open it. Obviously, the logic of this kind of just proceeds from that very idea that if people haven't interacted with you in a certain way, then you need to make sure that you're testing for the thing that they have. So this, if they've opened it but they didn't click anything, we're going to send them a new message. And this new message looks similar, but we've actually changed some of the content in it. We've also changed the subject line because we know that, we've gotten them to engage on some level, but we need to change up our approach. Maybe they were too busy to actually fill this out. Maybe they read it but just weren't sufficiently enticed. There's a number of reasons, so we'll give them some extra time and then we'll send them another email, and we'll try to, get them to do that. So it follows just like that, as I said. And so the last thing that we want to show, though, is if they click on a specific link, which is to say they click on the button that we've included in the email, what do we want to do? They've done exactly what we've asked of them. Whether or not they're a customer or not, we haven't been able to see right here. But at the very least, they've done the things that we're asking of them. They open the email. They're clicking the right link. So what we're going to do is actually perform a different action, which is to add 20 points to their customer score. And this is a scoring system we can use to measure just how hot, how engaged this customer is with us. And we can obviously, once they sign up for the subscription, and once we're able to track that, we can then add even more points to them because not only are they responding to our emails, but they're actually responding to our promotions just as we were hoping they would. Let's try to keep going with that with them so we can keep trying to get more money from them. Similarly, for the people who opened the email but didn't click, we can also add 5 points to their score because at least they're engaging on some level. They're still warmer than the people who aren't doing anything. So we have all of this scoring ability right in there. The thing I want to now turn back to is, I've shown you that basically that journey that you're using to enable the cross-sell of the subscription service, but now we want to go back and look at Alicia's record. And, we want to see some evidence in CRM of what she's been doing from our marketing side. And we actually have that right here in this section. So you see in this right here, it's telling us that of the campaigns that we've sent her, the emails we've sent her, what the actions are that she took. So we see that she opened our plant offering, subscription offering twice. She clicked, and she also clicked on that twice. So we have all that information that Marketing Hub is generating for us and keeping in Marketing Hub, but we're also bringing it and adding it to the contact record. So that way, when we look at Alicia Richards as a customer, we have all of the information that's relevant to her that we know. We know the kind of stuff that she's opening. We know what she's looking at. And that will allow us then, to keep a better track of everything. Sales IQ, in addition to doing the live chat, is also pulling in the visitor history and putting that on the contact record. And that's all available. So we see her most recent visit was, 30 minutes ago. The number of chats they've had, the number of days they visited, when the first visit was, the first page they ever visited. We have all of this information. Question, do you think you can bring this information into Marketing Hub and use that to target people? Would you want to say yes to that? You can. And that is going to be possible when you are mapping those fields, essentially, when you're syncing the data from CRM over to Marketing Hub. You're saying, I want to use the information in the first visit field in CRM, and we're going to put that in a first visit field into Marketing Hub. And now we're going to have that. So we could create journeys now that just say, hey, if you've been to my website within the last day, I'm sending you an email, right? When you combine that with the different kind of abandoned cart emails, the various things that we're able to pull from commerce and put into Marketing Hub as well, you have a whole lot of tools at your disposal to retarget people with the kind of stuff that is going to be the most effective for them. So now, just to kind of round out, what we're doing over here, we have these Austin customers, but now, it probably makes sense to create another view at this point, and that view could be called subscriptions. And this will basically give us a view that shows us all of our customers that are subscribing to our new subscription service. I can go ahead and hit save. And now we have, again, Alicia Richards is right there, right? So we went by looking into our contact records and carving out a section of our contact records by city. And now as we've performed this campaign and we've pushed our subscription service and we see that people are actually engaging with that, we can now update this as well to say, let's look at a view of just our subscription customers as well. And now we can also keep track of that. We can bring those views also into Marketing Hub if we'd like. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and kick it over to Dylan, and he is going to take us now through the next part of this, which includes surveying and continuing to follow up with our marketing processes. Dylan, please give him a big round of applause.
Thank you, Taylor. Just a quick recap before we continue moving on. We have this whole idea in marketing of trying to get as much value out of every lead as possible, right? Getting the most value of every lead. That's the name of the session. So it's more than just taking a bunch of leads and converting them into customers. Taylor went and showed you this way that we could take somebody who's maybe bought an item from our store and we could cross-sell them on this other service, which is maybe a completely different type of offering using Marketing Hub. So once we have some of those people that are repeat customers and they have more of like an established relationship with us now, the next phase that we could go to as marketers to get more value out of those people is to try and convert them into customer evangelists. So the last phase of this will be, how can we take all those people who we've done business with and try and get them to maybe leave us a review or try and get them to maybe give us some kind of testimonial, because that's going to be a much more believable way to like spread the word about our business if we can spread it through word of mouth like that. So that's what I'm going to focus on, and I'm going to use Survey and Marketing Hub and a few other tools to get all that done. All right, so first thing, if I go back over to Marketing Hub here, I just kind of want to show you this survey journey that we've already built before. So this is another example of a journey, and the basic idea here is that when we have somebody who is using our subscription service, then maybe we want to run them through some condition to determine like who we're going to send it for. So in this instance, just basically anybody who has any kind of subscription. So the subscriptions field is not empty, right? And then what we can show is a survey email. And so we can like send them a survey email where we can build a survey inside Zoho Survey, they'll fill it out, and then we can also take actions based off of what step they take here. So do they open our email or not open it? Do they start their survey? Do they complete their survey? And so we can do different kinds of things depending on how they act. So I'm going to show you how we can do this, and then I'm also going to show you how we could use a tool called Zoho Flow, so we have like this really nice automated way to follow up with all of the different customers that fill out our survey, and we can actually make all of this very actionable. All right, so let's actually just dive in and see what it's like creating a journey. So first thing, you can have journey templates. So for instance, you could save a certain kind of journey that you might reuse again in the future and just kind of tweak a few things as you gradually get better and better at using this and increasing your response rate. Or, we could just start from a blank one. So I'll start with a blank one here, and I'll just call this survey for customers, something simple like that. And that takes us onto the journey builder. And so over on the left side of the screen, we have a bunch of different triggers for our journey that we can choose from. And so this could be all kinds of different things. It could be, just somebody being added to one of our different lead lists. Or it could be, if somebody has abandoned their shopping cart. We actually have an integration directly into Zoho Commerce, which they've only just recently added into the product. So you can do things that are based off of someone's actions using your store. You could do something, just based on a time or based on whether somebody has opened one of your past emails. So you have a lot of different options here. So in our case, we'll just do this on list entry to kind of show you what this is like. And then I can choose a list, and I can just say my contacts, and I can choose whether I want to trigger this to people who are already in that list or to only work moving forward for new people that get added onto the list. So I'll hit done, and then the next step is we can add in some process actions here. So Taylor was showing you earlier that idea of having conditions. So I can choose a condition, and I can just do a simple if-else, because in this case, we're just checking for one thing. We just want to send out these surveys to the people who use our subscription service. So I drag on this if-else, and it connects onto our trigger, and then I can hit configure, and I can just say subscriptions, and very similar to creating that view inside CRM, is not empty. And I will hit apply. And so now, if this condition is met, so if somebody has a subscription in their CRM field, then we can proceed. Otherwise, we can end the flow. And so I could drag on this exit from journey thing. I'll attach that onto all the people who we don't want to send this to. And then the next step will be maybe we want to send out a survey email, and we actually have a pre-made thing specifically for sending out surveys. So I can drag this onto the builder here. And I'll try and zoom in a little bit more if we can. Oh, wait, maybe I don't want to do it that way. Okay, so we can start creating our survey email campaign. So I'll hit add content, and then it takes me to this thing where I can create a name. So I'll just call this subscription customer survey. That's just for my own reference. And then I can choose which survey I want to send these people. And so you can see that I have some surveys that have already been built. I'm going to choose this customer satisfaction survey. So let's actually take a look at that survey before we continue. So it gives me this little button, and that will actually open up the survey in another window so I can see and make sure that I have the right one. And first thing we see, how likely are you to recommend us to a friend or colleague? The NPS is basically just referring to this kind of survey question. You ask people on a scale from 0 to 10 how likely they are to recommend your business to someone else. The 9s and 10s, these are people that are probably going to help you spread the word. The 7, 8 range, they're pretty neutral. They're probably not going to tell their friends about your business, but they're not your most upset customers, right? And the 0 through 6s, these people definitely have some kind of problem with your business. They're definitely upset about something. And so the idea of a NPS or a Net Promoter Score is just that you take all the people that give you a 9 or a 10, and then you take all the people that give you a 0 through 6, and you subtract those from that first number, and at the end, you'll end up with some kind of number. And basically, you can just calculate, based off of the ratio of 9s and 10s to 0s through 6s, whether you have more people that are happy and really excited about your business, or more people that are unhappy and not excited, or whether you just have like a bunch of people that are pretty neutral and don't really care. So that's the idea of an NPS. And so we have actually a built-in NPS question that you can put onto your Zoho surveys. So I'll show you how we built this in a second. But one other thing that I want to show you guys is how you can actually add in logic to our surveys as well. So we have like different categories that we want people to rate us on, right? So if somebody rates us 5 stars, we don't really need to ask a follow-up question because we know everything is okay. But what if they give us 3 stars? Clearly something could have been better. So when I switched my answer to 3, you see that this other box shows up where we ask what could we have done differently to get a 5-star rating. So that's like a really simple way to just kind of like keep your surveys nice and short and target your questions towards, whoever is going to make the most sense to ask these things to. So we can put in a bunch of different like star-based questions. We can then have like somebody write qualitative feedback too, so it doesn't just have to be quantitative. They could write a long answer in the box. And then we can also do things like collect their first and last name, their email, their phone number. We can have like a little bar that shows them how much of the survey is completed as they're going through it. Because some people, I know I am this person, if I see a survey and I land on it and I see it's like 5% complete after one screen, I'm like, all right, I'm not finishing the rest of that 95%. I don't have time for this. I'm not going to win that $500 gift card. So you can put things like that on there to try and encourage people to finish filling out the survey. I'll go to Zoho Survey just to show you really briefly what it's like to build one of these surveys. So we can see the existing survey is already there, but I'll just create a new one. I'll call it survey. And I can choose like a category if I want to like have a bunch of surveys on my account and keep them all organized. And then over on the left, we give you a bunch of different question types that you can give people. So first one, NPS, that was like the first thing we asked on our survey. So we can choose our wording. How likely are you to recommend us to a friend or colleague, right? And then we can also set the labels for the 0 and the 10. What I think is kind of funny about this is that pretty much everyone who makes an NPS question just sets it to like not likely or very likely for these. But to me, it always seems like 0 should just be like, I will not. And 10 should be, I definitely will. In fact, I have. So I don't know why these labels change so much. But okay, so I'll just put in not likely. I'll be like everyone else. I'll put in very likely for the 10s. Great. And then, that star rating thing that I showed you, that's also a pre-made thing. So I can say, please rate the quality of our service. And then I can choose even the number of stars I want to show them if I want to change that. And then last thing I want to show is, how do we collect that qualitative data? So I'll add in that conditional question here where we want to get their feedback if they give us anything less than 5 stars. So I'll just say, please describe what went wrong. Or, probably I would say, like, what could we have done differently? And then if I want to only show this question to certain people, like the ones who haven't given us a high rating, what I can do is I can click on this little button and then I can hit add logic onto this question. So I'll add some logic onto our 5-star question. And then what we can say is, if somebody gives us less than 5, then we want to show, and then I can just choose which question I want to show, and the only one that comes after it in the survey shows up here, and I can hit save. Another cool thing I just want to point out is you can also do logic where you have like different pages of questions, and depending on how someone answers, we just show them a different page on the survey entirely. So you can also set it up that way. Okay, cool. The logic has been saved. Great. So what's also really nice about Zoho Survey is that we give you a bunch of integrations into other tools as well. So, you could dump your answers in like a Zoho sheet or a Google sheet, but also you can connect it with Zoho CRM. And so basically what we could do is we could just say, connect this to my contacts, and then I can say which questions on my survey line up with which fields in my CRM. So for instance, inside CRM, we have an NPS field that we added onto the CRM that wasn't there by default. We just dragged it on over in CRM. We didn't demo that, but that's how it works. And then if we want to line that up with the question from our survey, I can just choose that NPS question. And that's how simple it is to set up the connection. So now anyone who fills this out, assuming we have enough information to associate it to their CRM record, such as like their email or their phone number, however you want to set that up, then it'll update the CRM when they fill out their response. Okay, so that's what it's like building a survey. And then what's cool about all that, you build your survey, you set up the integration with CRM. Now, going back to that journey I was making, all I had to do was say, let's send out a survey email. And then of course we see, this survey field, and I can just choose the survey that I've built. So that's how easy it is to add a survey onto an email. And then for the subject line, we can say like, please fill out our survey. Just keep it simple. But also, we could personalize this subject line with information from the person we're sending it to, right? So we could say like their first name after this as well. But it's important to note, and when you're doing this, you want to make sure you use a field or you use a list where you actually have that information for everyone. Because we'll give you this option here. If you notice, we have like this little line and then it says customer. This is basically telling Marketing Hub that, hey, if we don't know their first name, we're just going to call them customer. And that's not a good look. Nobody wants to be called customer. It's like being spoken to by a robot, right? So ideally, you should make sure before you send it that you have a list ready, or you can just like put in like a space or something if you just don't want to put anything there if you don't know. So next thing, we can choose our sender. So you can have multiple different email addresses validated on one account, and you can send it out from different emails depending on what your goal is. So we'll just send it from Karen Crow, and I can even put in what sender name I want to show up for this particular campaign. And I'll hit next. And then for the content, again, like we can start with a basic template where we just kind of give you sort of like a pre-structured email that shows you like, here's where the image goes, here's where the text goes. But I'm going to kind of skip ahead for the sake of the demo, and I'll show you this survey template that I already made from before. So the survey template, you can come in, you can edit a bunch of different stuff in this. So for instance, if I wanted to just change the text, I just click in here and I can start typing. I can say, fill it out for a chance to win a gift card or something like that, right? I don't have to stick with the same text every time. And so that's one of the cool things about email templates is I can start with this basic structure, but then over time I can try different variations on the wording or the design of it, and then just figure out what works well as I move along. So then also in here, again, we still have merge tags. So if you wanted to like address it to the person that you're talking to, we could choose like the lead merge tags and then drop in like their first name, and I'll put in that little code snippet again. So if we wanted to say like, hello, Alicia, customer, we could drop that into our email using the merge tags. But also it's not just the information about the lead, there's all kinds of other information that could potentially be relevant. So for instance, we could drop in like a URL to our survey or the name of our survey if we wanted to, and that would go into the email template. And then for the images, one of the cool things that we have is a file manager for the images. So you can create different folders. So if you have like different variations on your logo, you have certain images that you're going to use over and over again because maybe you bought the rights to use them. You can organize those into different folders and then choose them from here, or just upload from your computer if it's going to be a new one this time. Okay, so if you want to like rearrange things, like let's say maybe we thought this button was too low down, and we wanted to move it up, it's just a click and a drag. So it's pretty straightforward. It's just a drag and drop builder that you can use to design your emails. So there's other stuff that you can do as well. So over here, I had been looking at this basic area where I could like drag on like some text if I wanted like a heading, or I could drag on an image if I could do like 2 images side by side, or 3 side by side, or just 1 image. But also in the advanced section, we have a couple nice things. So you could do like a video embed, or you could do an attachment, and you can actually track when people download attachments from an email, which is kind of nice. So then, of course, you can use that information in a journey if you wanted to. Okay, so basically, that's what building the actual email is like. And then we can hit save and proceed when we feel like we're ready. And then there's a few things that you want to do before it's really like finally ready. So one thing is we could add in a pre-header. If you're not familiar with what pre-headers are, basically if you like open up an email, like in your Gmail or whatever email client you're using, Zoho Mail, usually a little bit of text from inside the email shows up and is like previewed before you even open the email. So I could write a pre-header in here, and that pre-header ideally should go along with whatever my subject is to try and convince somebody to open this email. So different email clients will have like different lengths of pre-headers that they might show, and it can vary based off of like, how wide someone's browser window is. But it's a good practice to put one in. And basically, the pre-header will just be like hidden text that's put into your email. And so someone will see it before they open it, but not after they open it. And so we could say like, our survey is the best one you'll ever see, or something stupid like that, right? You'd probably want to put something that explains like why you're sending the survey, or how short the survey is maybe, or what they'll get for filling out the survey. But I'm just in dumb demo mode, so I did that. Okay. Next, we can preview and test. So Taylor kind of showed this earlier. We can see like the mobile version or the desktop version of our email. But also, what's kind of cool is it gives you this little thing where you can send out a test email. And so you can enter in up to 5 email addresses. Ideally, if email marketing is really, really important to you, then you should probably set up different emails with different email clients so you can see like, okay, if I'm sending to like a bunch of people with Outlook and a bunch of people with Gmail and a bunch of people with whatever mail, I'll test it in each one of those emails and see how it looks before I actually send it out to everyone. So you can send out that test, see how it looks, make sure everything is correct. But I am going to skip that for now. All right, so we've set up our email survey. So now the last step of this is we want to maybe take different courses of action based on how someone responds. So to show you how that works, I can just come down here to this step, click on this little thing. Oh wait, I forgot to hit edit over here in my journey. I can come down here, click on this little thingy, and then I can hit add response. And basically, I can choose how many different like courses of action can be taken based on what happens. So maybe if somebody opens the email, that'll be one. Maybe if they start the survey but don't finish it, that's another. Or maybe if the survey is completed, that's another course of action that we could take. And then finally, we come down here and we have these different responses. It's kind of hard to zoom in because it's at the bottom of the screen. Maybe I can move this up a little more. And to the left. So these will tell us like, okay, one of these is if it's unopened, another one's if it's opened, another one if it started, another one if it's completed, right? And then what we could do is we could take different courses of action. So if it's unopened, then maybe we just want to send somebody another survey email. So we could just drag that out, drop it by the unopened one, and then we can say how much of a delay we want to put on that. So maybe if they haven't opened it, we'll wait like 3 days, and then we'll just send them the same content again. And I could just come in here, hit add content, that email, I could just put it right in, and maybe I'll just change out like the subject line since they haven't seen the content, but they have seen the subject potentially, and maybe that will get them to open the email. So then we could go in step by step and we could add in different actions for each different response that they might take. But I think we all get the idea. I don't need to bore you with showing you that entire thing. So the last step of this that I want to demo is how can we use all this information to kind of like make this more actionable. So once somebody fills out that survey, besides just maybe sending them more emails, or besides just sending an email if they haven't filled it out, trying to get them to fill it out, what can we actually do with the response that they give us? So, first thing, I think Taylor kind of showed this already, but if we look at the CRM record for Alicia, we come in here, we can update the CRM using that survey information. So if she filled it out and she gave us a 10 earlier, that would automatically show up right here in the NPS field that we've added on. But there's other stuff that we could do as well. So for instance, what if somebody gives us like a really low rating on that NPS? One thing that we could do is we could automatically send a message into Zoho Click, which is like our messaging tool, and we could put that message into the support channel. So all of our support reps will see right away someone has given us a low score. And we can completely format this message. We can like drop in their email. We can link out to their CRM record. And so any support person who's just going about their day, twiddling their thumbs, could see this. And then they could just click into the CRM record. And then from there, in the CRM record, they could actually get much more information. And they could come down to the Zoho survey section, and they could actually then link out and see the entire survey response that that person left. Or maybe they could look at Zoho Desk, and they could see the help tickets this person has been giving us in the past, and they can reflect on their actions, and they can go, oh man, I've really ruined this customer's day, right? Or, what happens if somebody does give us actually a really positive response, such as Alicia Richards did? One thing that we could do is we could create a task board for getting customer testimonials. And so this is Zoho Connect. And Zoho Connect is like Zoho's internal social network. So if you're familiar with like Yammer, it's kind of a similar idea. And so basically in Zoho Connect, the main point is that you will have like different groups. So maybe you could have different groups for different teams. And then you can have like different feeds for each group. So you can join different groups. So if you're on like the marketing team, you might be in the marketing group. You might be in more than one group. You might be in like the people who love like Liverpool group or something, right? And then people can make posts on Zoho Connect. And so you'll get notified about a post if you have joined the group that it was made in, or if somebody mentions you on that post, then it'll show up and you'll get a little notification badge. So for instance, Sarah Amanda has made a post asking what the Friday lunch order should be, and she also voted for beer, and Karen Crow has tagged the HR team asking if that's appropriate. Who's to say? So then over here in the task board, this is what I was really trying to get to, is that we can automate a task getting added to this board that says follow up. So Alicia filled out this survey earlier, and now it says follow up with Alicia Richards, and I can open up this task. It says ask Alicia if she'll write a review or if she's willing to give us a testimonial, and we can put in her email and her phone number. We can again link to her CRM record, so if we want more like context on who she is before calling her, that's also pretty cool. And then what's nice about this task board is besides just being able to like check something off when it's done, is let's say we ask for a review and Alicia is willing to give us like a written testimonial. Now we have a new task, right? So I can grab this one, I can move it over to a new column, and now we understand that there's a new thing that we need to do with this Alicia Richards customer, right? So very quickly, how did I automate all of those messages, both the support message in our Click channel or this task on our Connect task board? How did I automate those to happen automatically? What I actually did was I used Zoho Flow for this. So Zoho Flow, it's a tool that you can use to connect different departments together, right? So Marketing Hub has that journey builder, which gives you that flowchart-like interface. And you'll see that Zoho Flow kind of gives you a similar thing. The difference here is that Zoho Flow is really meant for connecting information across different departments or connecting information from third-party apps with your Zoho apps. And that's what it really excels at. So real briefly, I'll just kind of explain how this works. We can see our trigger here, which is a contact being updated inside the CRM. And then we have some logic. So if their NPS is a 9 or a 10, then we're going to create that task in Connect. And if their NPS is like less than a 7, then we message support channel. And if it's a 7, then we probably just don't worry about it because it's kind of neutral. And then to give you an idea of just how easy it is to set up this flow, I'll show you how I put together this step. So this is how I configured the message that went out to the support channel. Basically, I just chose which channel I wanted to put it in, so I chose the support channel. And then I just started writing my message in this box about how they gave us a low satisfaction score. But I was able to pull in information about that person from the CRM and use that in my message. So kind of similar to those merge tags over in Zoho Marketing Hub, I could drop in their email by pulling in data, merging data from the CRM. So over here on the right, it's pulling in all the information from their CRM record, because that's our first step in the flow, is whenever their record gets updated. And so I could just look around in here and I could find their email and then just click that, and it pastes in this little code snippet for their email, and then I can put that into my message. And so now that will show up inside Zoho Click. So that's Zoho Flow in a nutshell. And then what's really cool about this is, let's say we're not using Zoho Click, but maybe we're using something like Slack. We could come in here, we could also do the same exact thing, except have this message post to Slack as well. And we have a lot of different applications that are connected into Zoho Flow. So I just want to say thank you.